Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to the first edition of Black Authors Matter TV for the month of December, the last month of the year. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
And it seems like forever since we've talked to you all, because last time we had a half show because of a technical problem with Zoom. And so then we didn't do it last week because of the Thanksgiving holiday. But I hope you all are enjoying your holidays, getting your shopping in or whatever you're going to do. I always finish my shopping before Thanksgiving because I don't want to be in the rush of what happens
and
after
I always
that.
finish my shopping when I feel like it, girl.
Well, I used to do it like that, but it was just, and I have to ship stuff. And so it was just too much stress.
No, I just do it like if I see something I like, I'll grab it. I'm not stressing over it. I'm not rushing. I did Black Friday from my bed. I was on my bed and I was like, oh, that's cool. I just happened to go on there looking for something else, and I saw they had a penny sale. They were selling things for a penny, so I grabbed a few things.
Really?
Selling some things for $1.
How much was the shipping? Did they make it up?
The shipping was cheap too.
So they were trying to get rid of some inventory.
That's what I'm saying, and I took advantage of it. I wasn't looking at them.
I shop throughout the year when I see something that somebody might like. I start in July normally, but I'm done before Thanksgiving, and that I'm wrapping gifts and shipping stuff after that. So anyway, we have a great show tonight. Our first two guests were featured authors at the National Black Book Festival, and we were able to get them on the show back to back for tonight, and we're very excited about it. So we're bringing on our first guest, which is no stranger to most people in the book world, and that's Beverly Jenkins, the icon of historical romantic fiction for our people that features our history and Black love. And we just are excited. We're excited that she was able to come to the festival. And we just posted their pictures yesterday, I think, or Monday. But we had so many pictures, Beverly, that the photographer, I'm still going through pictures. And not all of your pictures were together, like you, and they weren't like back to back on this batch that he sent. So I had to wait till I might still run across some more. So if I do, I'll send them to you. Anyway,
y'all were so popular. I was trying to do some content and people kept getting in my way. I was like, you know what? Let me just walk.
Yeah. We've been around a long time.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Y'all are like celebrities. You are what we should be. You are what we should be treating our authors like. When I saw the way people are lined up, the way people cheered for you, the way people were so excited for you, you are what authors are aspiring to be. So it was just really nice to see the way people got excited for you. And it's just a testament to your talent and to your tenacity in this industry.
Yeah, and a big part of that is how you treat your readers.
Absolutely.
Because they are the reason that we were there. They are the reasons that we've been in this industry for 30 years. I mean, they're our gold. So our connection with them is very, very open and honest, and we love them even more than they love us, because they pay our mortgage, they put our kids through school, they all of this stuff, because there's so many authors out there, and books cost money these days.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you need to treat people in a way that they don't mind spending that hard-earned money and letting them know how much you appreciate them spending that hard-earned money on you. They could be spending it on somebody else. So
That's
yeah.
absolutely right.
Or
And I've said that before
yeah.
because we are not doing people favors by writing books. They are doing us a favor by
Exactly.
buying our books. And we do have
Exactly.
to treat people as such.
Yeah.
We can't treat people badly and then act like we have arrived and we're so much better than the people who are supporting our work.
Nope. Nuh-uh. I'm just a little colored girl from the east side of Detroit, so my mama raised me well. And I'm very, very appreciative and grateful every day to be able to do this. Because,
Yes.
I could be getting up going to a 9 to 5 every day, instead of
Yeah,
running around in my
logging on, or being hybrid, going in sometimes, at home sometimes,
yeah,
being
or
on call, getting
instead of
text messages at 10 o'clock at night about work that you should have been
yeah,
doing.
instead of being in my pajamas all day if I choose to. So I'm very, very grateful and very, very blessed.
Yeah,
Amen.
I, the fact that you all have been around for so long, writing great books, and you built an audience is something that I try to tell first time authors or new authors, that it takes a long time.
It
It takes a lot
does.
of work to build a readership. You're just
Hmm.
not going to do it with your first book that's about your life and is less than 100 pages and you're
Right.
charging
No,
$20. And no, that's
you can't
not,
buy a Cadillac with that.
no.
You're not gonna be able to do that. And we came up in an era when there was no internet.
Yes.
So
Right,
when
right.
you had book signings, you had your little notebook. You had everybody put their information in the little notebook. When it was time to contact them, you put your newsletter together. You put it in snail mail and you send it out. I
Yes.
mean, it was you had to be a very, very personable, very, very connected with your readers back then. And it's like McDonald's. You build your readership. With them, it was one hamburger at a time, and with us, it's one reader at a time. And it takes a while. It's not going to happen like you said overnight, not at all.
Right. So, what do you like the most about the stories that you write?
I like the way they make me feel because I write the stories that I want to read and the stories that I didn't have when I was growing up. I like the readers' reactions. I like sharing the history and learning because I'm still learning along with my readers. Um, and just the idea that in 1860, whatever, before the Civil War, it was illegal for us to read,
Yes.
and now here we are reading, writing. That's a big thing.
And publishing.
And publishing.
Yeah, so
Who'd have thunk, right?
that's true.
So I think maybe that is the biggest thing is to be that dream that the ancestors had.
Amen.
Because, one of the, I read somewhere that there were basically three things that, the enslaved wanted after the Civil War, and that was to be free, of course, work free, educate their children, and read. Because reading has power. Because if it
Yes,
didn't, they would not have taken it and forbidden us from reading.
right.
So I love that we are the dream. And these independent writers, oh my God, I am so proud of them.
Right.
Because they didn't wait for the gatekeepers. They brought their own table. So to be able to step out there on faith, knowing you have a great story, and do it. So brave. So proud of them for their bravery. So That's a whole
Yeah,
lot of stuff I'm happy with.
yeah, and it takes a lot of creativity to be a self-published author. And we have the means to do it with social media, which it has its drawbacks,
Oh
but
yeah.
it also is beneficial in terms of just reaching people you never would be able to reach. We started Kush City in the late 90s. So
Right. Hmm.
when we first started, we did there wasn't the internet was new.
Right.
So we were like it was like a year after the websites really became a thing. And we did the snail mail and then we had a brick and mortar store, but we communicated by snail mail
Hmm.
to get people to come to our store. Then we did email,
Yeah. Yeah.
so everything kind of evolved as we kept going.
Yeah.
And we were so happy to have you and Brenda at the festival, which we hadn't had you all there in
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah. We had a
This-
good time. We had a good time. It was good seeing you guys. It was good seeing the faces of the readers who we hadn't seen in that part of Texas for a while. Um, it's just a great time. Anytime you can get out and get the hugs and get the love and give some hugs and give some love and give some advice. Um, it's a good day. It's a good day. I had a good time. Thanks for the
We had
invite.
a good time talking with you. I mean, you were just both of you were just fun interviews.
Yeah.
And you told it like it was, and everybody was just hanging on your word.
Yeah. Well, I can only be me. Everybody else is taken. So, it's
That's a
it,
good
it,
one. Now, have you ever written a book or a storyline that a reader gave you, like suggested? Have you ever like
some
taken
of
a
the
reader's?
out of the 60 books that I have in print, there's only one that is not related to any of the others. And a lot of them came from, suggestions from readers. Well, can you give this person a story? Can you give this person a story? What about this person? What about that person? Some of them I
Okay.
say, no, I'm not doing that. But a few of them have been reader based or reader pushed. Um, and that's fun because, they have their own ideas as to how the book should be written and who should have a book. And that's part of the community and part of the fun of the community.
And I guess they get excited when it's like, oh, that's my idea. Or,
And I
she
dedicate some of the and those who have the great ideas, I dedicate the book to them. So, that makes it even more special for them and for me. Yeah.
Now,
That's
when you take different topics, and I haven't read all of your books, but I've read a
That's okay.
lot of
Okay.
them. And you cover different periods in history or different triggers in history, different situations. How do you decide what to pinpoint, like what period or situation or that you're going to focus on? How do you decide that?
It sometimes it's the story decides, because I'm
okay.
a pantser. I'm not a plotter. Whoever
Okay.
comes up and taps me on the shoulder and says, you know, write my story, or I'll run across something in doing some research that speaks to me. Like Forbidden, um, was a diary entry from a Black man who was um, traveling west, and he looked out of the stagecoach, and there was this Black woman walking across the desert with a stove on her head,
The stove.
one of those little bachis, a cook
Okay.
stove.
Oh, okay.
And he said she was just striding. He didn't know where she's going, and that was the only thing that he said. And I was like, well, who was she? Where's she going? And why she got that stove on her head? So since I didn't have any answers, I decided to write her story myself. And that turned out to be Edie in Forbidden, who was trying to get to California to start her own restaurant. She had come all the way from Denver. We saw her how she got there and why she was walking across the desert with that stove on her head. It was easier to carry it that way. But yeah, that's one of the a lot of stuff fuels different kinds of stories. So
Right.
yeah, with that,
Everybody has a story.
yeah, everybody has a story. Yeah, yeah. Some got drama, some are happy, some are, bittersweet, some are lovely, some are, oh my God, don't do that again. Yeah.
One of the viewers said one of the things she likes about meeting you is you are real and down to earth. That's from Sharon Robinson, who's
Uh,
watching the interview now.
okay, thank you,
And
Sharon. I try to be, like I said, I can't be nobody else but me. So no
yeah,
sense in trying to be somebody else.
and she said she remembers reading that book.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Mm.
Forbidden. That's the
So
book that Sony optioned that, and we thought we were going to get a movie, and then the pandemic hit, and that was the end of that. But
Pandemic just messed everything up.
it didn't mess up a whole lot of stuff.
yeah,
So
it burned some things too, because there's a
yeah,
lot of people were
Yeah.
writing books during the pandemic.
yeah,
So a lot
yeah.
of people. Did you have any of your books actually become films?
Nope,
And I missed them. I know
nope.
you've had them options.
Well, we did, Iris did Sexy Dangerous, Deadly Sexy, which was one of the suspense. She did that through Amazon Prime and her own small film company. And she did a
Okay.
hell of a job. Just a great, 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 great job. Right now, we are waiting on John Legend and his group, the Get
Ooh.
Lifted group, and Deborah Martin Chase to finish the script and start pitching the Blessing series because they have optioned that.
Okay.
And yeah, I had a lot of options. And being option and being made are two different things.
It is.
True.
But they are so excited. I'm excited that they're excited. So so we're going to see where that goes. I think this is probably the closest we've gotten to actually seeing something come to life. So
So is it a series or a
we don't know
movie?
what it's going to be.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to
Okay.
be a series. I don't know if it's going to be just a straight up movie. Got 12 books. So, and I'm greedy. So, I want to see. I ain't going to lie. I'm greedy.
Will it be hard to shrink that
Honest.
down into one movie?
Yeah.
It's a lot of material.
There's a lot of material.
Mhm.
I can see, but I can also see you being I'm maybe not nervous, but just a little antsy to see how it's going to turn out because you just never know.
Right. You
It's
never
like,
know. And you're giving power to them. But they have been
right.
but they've been very, very upfront about sticking to the story and running
Good.
stuff by me.
Oh, good.
And I think as Black people, they get it. You don't have to explain stuff.
Mhm.
They have respect for the characters. They've got respect for the idea. So I'm a little bit anxious, but I'm also content to see what they're going to do, and I'm gonna trust them. They said let us, they said trust us. So we're gonna see.
Now, do they have other film projects that they've done, or you like?
They did La La Land. They did Jingle Jangle, which is their Christmas
Okay,
story. Okay.
okay.
They did La La Land, which won,
I
I
saw
think, an
that.
Oscar for something.
Okay.
Deborah Martin Chase has got so much power. God, I didn't even know who she was, but she did the original Cinderella with Brandy.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
okay.
has
Wow.
she has had this year was her third Tony.
Okay.
She shared a Tony with Angelina Jolie for The Outsiders. She's executive producer for Queen Latifah's, what's that show she's got? The Equalizer, whatever it's called.
The Equalizer.
Yeah,
The
okay.
Equalizer.
She also did the executive producer for the Harriet Tubman movie that was out a couple years ago. So,
Okay.
girlfriend is pretty powerful. So her
Awesome.
group and John Legend's group have gotten together and they're going to do it together. So I'm excited. I'm,
Oh,
grateful and, all that. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. Yeah.
can't
Well,
wait.
congratulations on being in the conversation. That's amazing.
It
Yeah.
is.
And it's Christmas time. So if those of you who have not seen Jingle Jangle, it's a Christmas story.
Yes.
I absolutely love it. I wish it had been around when my kids were small.
Yeah.
And I think it's on Netflix. So,
It
and
was
it's been on,
beautifully done.
yeah, and they've been on, this is like the third or fourth, maybe the fifth year. And that's a John Legend project. So, yeah, they got a little bit of, they got a little bit of stuff behind them. So, we'll see.
Okay, now you have a new book that just came out, right? Well,
Hmm.
really, right after the festival, but
Right. Yeah.
we were able to get some copies there. Calling All Blessings. Do you have a
Mm.
copy handy?
Let's send a box over here. Hold on, let me get it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it came out that Tuesday after the festival, but we were able to get some copies in for the event. Okay, so this Calling All Blessings, I'm assuming, is part of the Blessings series.
Yeah, this is the last book in the series. This is
Okay.
book 12. And a lot of tears because the readers are like, no, 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 we don't want the series to end. And I'm like, I know, I know. But
Now
I told
you
them,
gonna let them talk you into another book.
well, no, because we are all readers, and we have all read series where we read that book and we were like, you know what? She should have stopped writing this series 3 books ago.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go out like that. I want to go out on top. So yeah, so this is the last book. 12 books. Starts with Bring on the Blessings. Um, all the usual suspects are in here, even the pig. So, and that was one of the things that, when I was talking to Legend and them, they were like, well, is there anything that we have to have? You have to have the pig. I'm sorry. Even if you have to do a CGI, you got to have Cletus in the series. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
And this one was on paperback and hardcover at the
Yeah,
same time.
they've all been, well, and I think it's because publishing is, they don't know what they're doing. They've changed so much stuff. Um, the last few have been hardcover and saw trade. And then Harper is doing their own large print. They used to farm that out, but they're doing that under their own label now. So I was able to get all of the copies of all the formats. I had a living room full of books. I'm like, come get these books. So to come to my local bookstore, come get these books, get them out of my house. But very proud of the series. Did a lot of stuff with it. Brought in a lot of readers of all types, sizes, ages, races, genders, identifications. So I'm very, very proud of it.
And I think that's the best part about it is that you have such a diverse readership and that you're able to bring so many readers together.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of book you want to write. You want to write a book that everybody want to read.
Yes.
But with a Black gaze. For me, I want everybody to read it, but I'm not going to change my gaze. You're going to have to learn some Black stuff if you're not Black. And you have to learn some Black stuff even if you are Black. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Now, they did actually release them together, and that's not usual. That's fairly new, where they
Well,
release the papaperback and the hardcover at the same time. Normally, they'll do the hardcover.
Well, they've been doing that with me for a while, since back in, God says, Nighthawk.
Really?
Yeah, Nighthawk came out in hardcover and trade size at the same time.
I don't know if it's the genre because most of the time it's a year apart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But not with, and romance, keeps the lights on. So
Mhm.
Who knows? We'll see. Yeah.
It is a very it's a growing genre of committed readers that are excited about the books
Yeah.
and that are looking for the happily ever after at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
They expect that, and but
Billions.
you do a lot in between. You tell some real stories in terms of just things that happen in history because it's based on real stuff. And
Yeah.
so
Right.
you're teaching in your books as well as I'll say entertaining, but
Yeah.
you're teaching too.
I call it, my girlfriend called it edutainment,
Mm,
entertainment and education.
Right.
Um,
I've heard that phrase before.
yeah. So you try and teach because for me, literature serves a purpose of, and everybody's different, every writer's different. But for me, literature should educate and entertain. And that's what I try and do with all my books, whether it's the teen books or, whether it's the suspense or whether it's the historicals, to try and give people something to think about, even while they're enjoying the book. So, yeah. Or it's fanning from the love scenes. You still learn a lot, you know.
True.
And when you started in the 90s, did you anticipate having a 30-year career?
Mm-mm.
Did you
I wasn't planning on being a writer at all, at
Oh,
all. No, no,
okay.
I sort of backed into this, but they kept sending me contracts and I kept sending them books. And now, 60 books later and a zillion contracts later, I'm still at it. So
Well,
I'm grateful
when did you realize or when did you recognize that it was happening?
that I could write.
Well,
Or,
not just that you could write that
when
people actually wanted to read this, that
when
you
they
were
kept sending me contracts and I was getting fan mail and people was freaking out at book signings and women was crying and stuff. And I'm like,
wow.
this must be a thing. And People magazine showed up and I had a 8-page spread that first year with them. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this is what I'm doing, huh?
Wow.
Because all I ever wanted to do in life was work in a library. That's it. And sometimes
Yeah.
God says, oh, put this hat on, try this. And then I was like, oh, okay, I like this. I ain't got to leave the house.
Well,
You're
you
in the
definitely have.
library, but it's your work in the library.
Mm,
You're working.
yes, that
You
shows.
are not in the library, but your work is in the library.
Yeah.
Mm,
In libraries now and in school, in classes and colleges. And I'm like, okay, Lord, thank you.
That's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. And you try and live up to that. Because that old saying, what is that from Luke? When much is given, much is expected.
required.
Right.
So,
Now, what's the strangest question you've ever had from a reader, a fan?
it was a
Can you think
question
of
that,
one?
yeah, the strangest question. It was when I first met Shay, and she was doing an interview. I was out in Boston. It was the first time I met her. And she said, what do you want on your headstone? Nobody had ever asked me that before. And it took me a while to come up with something. And I finally told her it would say she tried. She tried to
Mm.
be she tried to be a good person. She tried to be a good sister. She tried to be better today than she was yesterday. So that was the oddest and most different question I'd ever.
It
Um,
made you think, though.
oh yeah, all the questions make me think. But after 30 years, they asked me the same question over and over and over and over and over again. And this was definitely something different. This was probably, I've known Shay maybe now 5 years.
Okay. Well,
So
she
it was,
takes care of things.
she take care of me. She take care of Brenda.
She's the one that I communicate with.
Yeah,
You for you and Brenda for
yeah,
for everything.
she all that. She all
Mm,
that. She's She's serious about taking care of aunties. That's what she
She
calls
is. She
her
is.
aunties.
If it's not where it should be, she'll tell you immediately.
Yep, she'll fix it or make you fix it. I love her
Indeed.
dearly. I love her dearly. Yeah.
Well, we're at the end of our time,
Okay.
and we're having your partner in crime on right after you.
Okay. The other
So,
BJ, yeah.
yeah, the other BJ. But thanks so much for taking the time to be with us. And you have a great holiday season and a prosperous new year. And we'll be in agreement with you about your film deal.
Okay, I
Yeah.
will keep you posted. Okay.
Please
Please
do,
do.
because we want to see it.
Yeah, I do too. Thanks for having me. You guys have
Thank
a
you
great
for being
holiday
here.
season as well. Okay.
Okay.
And
Take
the
care.
same to you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was the first BJ. And now we have Brenda Jackson. As I said, they are partners in crime, so to speak. I need to find out from Brenda because I meant to ask Beverly, but I'll ask Brenda. How did they end up like connecting where they are? It's almost like a sisterhood
Right.
between them. I'm going to ask her that after she comes on. So she's logged in. We're just waiting for her to come on camera. And I don't know if she stepped away or they're still saying mute.
Here she comes.
Okay,
There
there she is. Okay, well,
I get to
Brenda
help you.
Jackson, welcome back to Black Authors Matter TV. You've been on before, but it's been a while. It's been a good while. Oh, unmute. So we can
Unmute.
hear you.
Unmute.
There
Okay.
you go.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, welcome back to the show. I
Thank
think
you for having me.
it's been maybe 3 years since you were on.
It has been.
But it's been about that time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we were so excited to have both you and Beverly at the National Black Book Festival this year.
And we were glad to be there.
Yeah,
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So, at the what I was talking about while we're waiting for you to come on is how did you and Beverly connect and like become like a pair or the sisterhood? And how long ago has it been?
Oh gosh, let's not even go there. It's been over 30 years. Because this is my 30th year as an author. And
Okay.
last year was Beverly 30 years as an author. So Beverly book came out before mine. And I read Beverly's first book, Night Song, and I just fell in love. And at the time I contacted Beverly, I got her number from a mutual friend. And I just told her how many times I had read that book, certain scenes in it, like 25 times. And so we just had a good time talking. And I told her I wanted to be a writer, that I was working on something and that it was close to being sold.
Right.
And we met at a conference and we've been sisters since then.
Oh, that's
Wow,
awesome.
that's a sweet story.
Yeah, we've been sisters since then. And it never dawned on me. And somebody said, oh, y'all the two BJs years and years ago. I'm like, Beverly Jenkins, Brenda Jackson. Yeah, I just didn't think, because she was, I call her sis. And so I just never thought about it. But yeah, so we're the two BJs.
That is amazing. I love that.
It is.
Yeah.
And you all both have written so many books. Now you have written, I think last year you celebrated 150.
Yep. In
Okay.
April of this year. And I'm ending the year with my 155th book. Can you believe that?
Wow.
It came out today.
Right, I saw that. I said, well,
Yeah,
today's the release day for Christmas with the Steels.
Christmas with the Steels. I did both a Thanksgiving book. First time ever I did a Thanksgiving book.
Okay.
Because we overlook Thanksgiving. We go right
We
into
do.
Christmas.
We
We
do.
do.
And you know what? we all have a lot to be thankful for. And because this is not the best time of year for me, because I lost my husband 10 days before Christmas in 2013. And he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer the 1st of November. And so from November to January, it's always, I need something to keep me pepped up. So I said, this year I'm going to just write 2 books for the holidays. And that's what I did. So I wrote my Thanksgiving book because we all have a lot to be thankful for. And then, of course, I wanted to end it with a Christmas book. So I did both.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, when you lose a loved one during the holidays,
It's
it
hard.
resonates. I lost
It's
my
hard.
brother to pancreatic cancer, and we were extremely close. He died 2 days before Christmas.
Oh gosh.
And so it was like the worst Christmas of my life. It just was horrible.
Yeah.
And he was young and it happened so fast, because
Yeah.
pancreatic
Oh
cancer.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My husband died 6 weeks after the
No,
diagnosis.
right. That's
Oh,
what.
wow. That was fast.
Yeah.
6 weeks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll keep you in my prayers because I
Thank
know how that is. It's like all
Yeah.
the reminders.
Yeah.
And your husband was your high school sweetheart, or maybe
Oh
middle
yes.
school.
Yes.
Was it
Middle school.
Okay.
Middle school. We did not attend the same school. We attended rival school. And
Okay.
he always would talk about my school. And I'm like, it must not have been so bad. You went there to get a girlfriend. So, whatever, he went to Stanton and I went to Raines. So, yeah.
And did you grow up in Florida? Are you
Oh,
from
yeah. Born
native
and raised
Floridian?
right here in
Okay.
Jacksonville. I've traveled a lot over the years because
Mhm.
I retired after 37 years in corporate America with State Farm Insurance Company and management. So I got to travel a lot. And I loved it. I love traveling. And that's when I did most of my writing at night when I was in the hotel rooms and it was longhand then. I had all these journals and tablets and, so that's where I got started. Yeah.
Wow. And you do a cruise every so many years with your
Every
readers.
odd year, my
Okay.
readers and I, for the last 20 years, we've been doing cruises. And that's my way of spending time with them to show that I'm just a regular person who like to have a good time and want to enjoy my readers. And I do it for my foundation that's named in honor of my grandmother. And I give out scholarships to various colleges, HBCUs. And this is my way of giving back and still have fun with my readers. And it started out with a 3-day cruise. Then it went to 4-day. So now we're up to 7 days. And I said, y'all want to give a week of your time with me? And they said, yes. And I have readers that come every time we do it. So yeah, I call them my forever cruisers. So they have been traveling with me since day one, and I appreciate them.
Wow. How many people generally go with you?
I cap it usually at 300. I tell her, cut it off at 300.
That's a lot of people.
1 year, yeah.
That's a
1
lot of
year.
people.
Yeah, 1 year we went over 300. This year we was a little over 300, I believe, because it was a special year. It was my 30th year as an author. It was celebrating my 150th book and my 20th year cruising. So we split it up since I didn't want any more than 300. So we had a hold down in Houston, Texas, where some of my readers came to the hold down. And because that's where my first book took place. My first series, the Madeira series, originated in Houston. So I took it back home to Houston. And then the others who did not go on the cruise, they went back home. And then the ones that followed me on the cruise, we went to Mexico. And we had a wonderful time. Yeah.
Wow. Now, this Christmas with the Steels book, I noticed the publisher is Medeiros Publishing.
Yes.
So is that your publishing company that you?
That's my publishing company. That publishing company was started in 2006. It will be
Hmm.
20
Okay.
years old. That was before anybody was thinking about having a publishing company being hybrid, where I was still writing exclusively for Harlequin, but there were certain books that Harlequin didn't want because of the age of the heroes, the heroine. They didn't want heroines that were full figured. They didn't want seasoned heroine who were older. And my readers wanted me to write Uncle Jake Westmoreland book. So I said, okay, I'll just start my own publishing company. I will be retiring in 2008. So I'll start the company, get everything I need to do. So when I retire, I could just walk right into the company. And at that time, I was only doing one book a year under my company. And it was a book that Harlequin or any other publisher was not ready to do because it didn't fit within their guidelines. And I was okay with it because I was writing a lot of traditional publishing books. So now I'm writing both. I'm writing again, I'm hybrid, but this year I wrote more of my own than I did with my traditional, but I'm still with Harlequin.
Wow. Now you write a lot.
Yes.
Yes, you do. How in the world do you? I
I'm
think I asked you
dividing.
before, but I have to ask again. How in the world do you do it?
I'm dividing 150 by 30. That's 5 books a year on average.
Yes,
So
it is.
that's a lot of stories.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. And I guess writing, I believe the saying that if it's something you enjoy doing, you're going to do it. And writing relaxes me. I'm not into television, a lot of television, even though I did get caught up with Scandal. When Scandal was popular,
A lot of people got caught up in Scandal. Don't feel bad.
I would cut my computer off and rush into the room and watch Scandal. He said, I can't believe something is taking you from something on television is taking you from writing. But that's really the only show that I really got caught up in. Other than that, I just love writing. Because when I'm writing, I'm in another world. I'm dealing with characters that I create. So they fall in love when I want them to fall in love. They break up when I want them to break up. And then I put them back together again. And it's fun. I just love writing. I don't care. Even when I'm on vacation, I take my laptop with me because I in the evening writing something. And I just love writing. Yeah.
Well, you got the right profession for
Yeah.
you because writing 150 books, that's a lot. I know it's not like the most anybody ever wrote, but it's the most of anybody that I've ever talked to.
Yeah.
So that we've had on the show. I think Jacqueline Thomas has written over 100 books. I think she said Donna Hill is at 100, a little bit over 100. But I don't know anybody else that's done 150 besides you, and that's a lot of stories.
Well, Nora Roberts is shoot. Nora probably.
But I don't know her though.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, Nora, I know, and I know she's going into the 300s. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever feel like you are repeating stories?
You know what? What I do, there's only so many tropes out there. And I got my favorite tropes. I like the stories where, because me and my husband were together when we were young, I like the high school sweetheart story that separate, then they come back together. Anything doing with second chances, I love that. But as far as repeating, I'm sure my kids sings, because when I write any type of scene, I'm really into that scene. And my husband observed me one day. He said, "How do you type with your eyes closed?" Because I took typing in school. You know, I'm 72, and typing was something my mom said, "Hey, if you can't get a job, you can always be somebody's typist or whatever." And I left school typing almost 90 words a minute. So the keyboard is basically the same. So when I could close my eyes, as long as I got my fingers on those home row keys, I'm good. And what I do, I get into another world and I'm typing what I see. It plays out in my mind like a movie, and I type it. I don't worry about, oh Lord, I done got my hands off the keys, so no telling what I'm typing, because usually I never do that. But in doing that, you know, my heroes are different. I try to make them different, but I guess that's something I don't think about, because I'm character driven and not plot driven. So each character I write about is different. I base the plot on the character and not the character on the plot.
Okay.
Because of that, you know, now my readers, they have, you know, they'll say, "Oh, Miss Jackson, you wrote that kissing scene, whatever, whatever." But I've never heard them say, "But then you wrote it again in another book," because it's the character I'm concentrating on and not the act itself.
Okay. I get it. All right.
Okay.
So
All right.
Brenda Teal said she was on the first cruise and enjoyed it.
What's
Her
her
name
name?
is Brenda, and her last name is Teel.
Oh, okay. Hi,
Yes,
Brenda.
she's watching, and she commented that she was on the first cruise.
Oh, thank you for going with me. Yeah, I had fun. Now that cruise, that's when I limited the number, because I think we were over close to 400 on that cruise. And it was out of Jacksonville, where I live.
Okay.
And, you know, it was wonderful. We had a good time. Yeah.
So when you write about a family, like I know you have the Medeiros family, and then you have the Steeles,
Right.
and then is there another one?
Oh yeah, I got the
You got
I got the
several.
Montgomery family. I got the
Okay.
Madeira Sister Steele, the Montgomery. Then I have then I start writing about the Bennetts and the Masters. That's from Family Reunion. So I got that family, and they're intertwined because a lot of Bennetts marry Masters. And then what I decided to do was to write about a city or a town. And that's when I made a city versus a family, and that became Catalina Cove. So Catalina Cove became the object of the book. And it was not a family book, but it was about a town and the people in the town. So I've done it all. I don't think it's too many type stories that I've not written. When I wrote Catalina Cove, I had not written a book about anybody that had amnesia, because I just didn't buy it. You know, I'm like, what? I don't know what? Somebody can't remember, really? So I had a good friend of mine, Adrian Bird. Now you probably
Oh yeah.
remember
Yeah.
Adrian Bird. She was a good
Yeah.
friend of mine. We took a class online together. In fact, she taught me into taking it, and it was about retrograde amnesia. And I was really, really into the class more than Adrian. Adrian made jokes most through the class. You know, it was a class we both attended. But afterward, I said, okay, now I got it. And now I think one day when it hits me, I'm going to pick the perfect guy for the story, because I don't write plot books. I write about the characters. So I waited until I found the perfect character for that book. And it was in a Catalina Cove book Forget Me Not. And it was one of my top selling books. So I was really pleased with that.
Okay. Now you were a few years back, you were I believe it was your son who was
Uh-huh.
doing some filming
He still
about some
does.
of your books. So
Hmm.
have any of your books had completed films like
Oh yeah.
film?
BET did the first book of mine into the movie. One
Okay.
Special Moment. BET did that. And then I wanted to, my son went to film school. He went to Columbia University in New York. And then he went to Florida State Film School. He got a master's in film. So when he came back, my husband said, I want to see what he learned. We had him in college 8 years. And I want to
No,
see
that's right.
I'm like, wait a minute. If he was a doctor, would you let him operate on you just to make sure he learned something?
You're gonna
And he
operate
said,
on somebody.
yeah, he said, but I want to do this for him. And so we basically financed his first feature film. It was Truly Everlasting. I told him to pick a book. I really wanted it to be a Medeiros book, and he did pick a Medeiros book. I approved the script because he was also the script writer, so I had to approve the script. And then we financed it. We didn't go out and buy a movie studio. What we did was buy 3 houses in Jacksonville for them to film in. And one of the bigger houses was to house his film crew, because we went to some of the best film schools in the country and told them what our project was over the summer, and would they send some of their best film students. And they did. They delivered the parents brought them here. I promise I'm a mom, I'll make sure they're going to eat, get fed, taken care of, and the kids loved it because this is a beach town. So most of them came from up north. So we filmed a Christmas movie in the summer. So I went around to the neighborhood and I asked the neighbors, I know this may sound crazy, but I'm filming. Could you go ahead and put up your tree a little early this year? And they were all in. Everybody, the neighborhood was in. And we filmed that Christmas movie in July and August. And the movie did well. I was through with it. I got my husband money back that he financed it with, because he figured that he could give me the money, and by me being a businesswoman, that I would get his money back. He wasn't worried about losing his money. And I'm proud to say we did get it back, because Netflix picked it up for 3 years. So that movie went to Netflix, Truly Everlasting. And now it's out there on Roku. It's on Tubi.
It's on Tubi. I watch Tubi all the time.
Yep.
When we
But
get done with the show.
I think
Okay.
what that's awesome. The awesome thing about that is that there's a family that supports each other. You supported your son.
Yes.
You also, everybody supported you by turning
my
one of
readers supported me. We had the movie premiere here in Jacksonville. It was sold out. Over 2,000 people from all over came. Classmates, friends, readers. And so we had done that. So he got his first feature movie back because of his parents, basically. Now he's teaching film at one of the colleges here, in the college I graduate from, a private university, Jacksonville University. So he's still in the film. And then the last 3 years, we teamed up with Passion Flick, and we did 3 movies with them that's currently on Amazon Prime. So I got those 3 movies out there on Amazon Prime. So my son, even though he's professor of film at this college, he still handled my movie stuff. So movies are kind of slow now. Now they're picking up a Lifetime. So I got like 3-4 movies that's being optioned. So I'm glad of that. So anytime there is a movie, he's the one that works all the kinks out, work with the whoever's producing it or directing it, and whatever. So he directed Truly Everlasting, and I'm proud of him. He did a very good job.
That's
I
wonderful.
love that story.
Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, that in and of itself could be a book. Just, I mean,
Yeah, because everybody that worked on the set were under 25. So I'm here
okay.
trying to get everybody together. And I grew up corporate America. So I had to teach them. They said, well, on a film set, I said, yeah, but you can't come to work like you're going to the beach. I'm very professional. So, so most of the parents say, wow, you instilled a lot of good things in them. Because I was on the set, I had retired, so I had plenty of time. We had team building things, and they say team building. People don't do, I do, because I'm from corporate America. So I wanted the crew to feel like they were family. And we had a really good time. So the movie is doing very well. It came back out, left Netflix, and it went to Apple TV for a few years. And then we got a call that, people want to see it on Roku. The Roku people want to see it. Brain Power for Roku and other people. And it's even international. So, yeah, so it's doing very well.
Well, another great thing about that story is that the amount of parents who trusted you with their kids.
I know they would bring their kids here and they would drop them off and say, see ya. And I'm like, wow. And you're talking about, I had an interracial group of people that my team was interracial. So they didn't, I say, they know their kid working on a black movie. Didn't matter. Because they,
well, black or white, I didn't know you. So, you had to be somebody for me to trust you with my child.
Yes, yes. And some of these young people now, they're all finished college, and some of them, their profession is in television in New York, and they always send me Christmas cards or letters and tell me what a good time that I helped them to have in Jacksonville for those 3 months they were with me. Yeah.
Wow. So we only have a couple of minutes left. Tell us about Christmas with the Steels. Just give us a rundown about that.
My Steels come back together. And my Steels, I got 15 books in that series, even though the Westmoreland got them beat. I think I'm up to 40 books in the Westmoreland series, okay? But I wanted all the Steels to get together. And my readers for years have been asking me about these two characters, Drew and the mom, and Eaton, because they wanted to know why the boys were so harsh before they got married. And they would always think, oh, we Drew boys. So Drew was, before he married the mom. So I wanted to write their story, and I did. And and I have to say, it's a good book. It's in ebook, print, and it's going to be out by the 20th in Audible. So I'm really pleased with that. And then I got my Thanksgiving book about the Montgomerys. And so I'm just blessed that I was able to write. Started out with 149, and now I've finished the year with 155. So that was a good accomplishment.
That is an amazing accomplishment. And
thank you.
It's just something you were meant to do.
You know what? And after 37 years in corporate America, someone told me that, because I had made the New York Times. I had made a movie for BET. I was the first Black romance author to make the New York Times, and I've made it. Now I got a wall over there, and every time I made it, my agent would put the cover of the book on a plaque. So I got like 11 New York Times plaques over there, 46 USA Today plaques over there. So, and people would ask me, say, why are you still here? I said, because I love corporate America. But as much as I love corporate America, someone said, you ever thought that maybe God has something else for you? You made New York Times. You're a trailblazer. You made USA Today. You've done this, you've done that, and you're still coming to work because I enjoyed it. But when I decided to retire, I came home to write, and I'm still doing something I enjoy.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for saying that, for all of the people who still have day jobs, and for the entrepreneurs who try to shame the people with day jobs. Thank you for saying that, because they needed to hear that.
Oh gosh, I would get up 3 o'clock every morning to write while I was working. So I would have books that came out while I was working. So I was doing both, but that's how I relaxed, by writing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're at the end of our time, but thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Happy holidays to you and your family. And we look forward to many, many more books from Brenda Jackson.
Okay, already I'm making my list for 2026.
Okay.
And it's going to be my 5 books for 2026.
Well, you done made me feel lazy, so I better get on my writing.
Yeah, me too. I got 3 possibles. Like playing spades. I got 3.
I'll have my next book coming soon. Thank you. Thank you for making me feel lazy, Brenda.
Thank you so much. And congratulations. And thank you for being an inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great night and a great
Both
holiday.
of you.
Okay.
You too.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, we got to speak to the 2 BJs back to back. It was exciting. And so we'll continue our conversation with another writer who's written a lot of books. This is a whole nother genre. He writes children and teen books, and he's had several awards. And his name is Jerry Kraft. And I've been connected with Jerry for a long time, but ran into him at the Texas Book Festival last month and invited him to come on the show, which I had invited him before. I told him that, but but he was always busy. It's always a trip, traveling. He couldn't get in his schedule, but I put him in the book, and he teased me because my schedule for this show is in a notebook. Do I have it handy? No, I don't have it handy. But every show since 2021 is in this book. All the guests, and I write it. I do it in here. I have it on the computer too, but it's the way. It's like my Bible. It's like history. Somebody one day will say, what about all the shows for Black Authors Matter TV, all the guests, and all 800 of them plus are in this book. So anyway, Jay, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was good to bump into you in Texas.
Yeah, because we've never met face to face. I think it was our first time meeting face to face.
I said, hey, you got my number. You took out your Rolodex and started looking through and pulled out the little card with my name on it.
He's joking. I told all of my other stuff is tech. I had 2 power banks there powering all my stuff that I had, including the fan that cooled us down on that Saturday.
I know. Took out that BlackBerry. You was ready. So I'm like, okay. But thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So you have been. How long have you been writing, Jerry?
I published my first book in 1997, and that was my Mama's Boys book. That I think you were one of the first people to not only have the book, but I think you used to have the comics on your website, didn't you? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So I did a weekly comic strip
with you a long time.
Yep. I did a weekly comic strip for King Feature Syndicate, and then I used to self-syndicate and send it out to different Black websites and newspapers across the country. And I remember you picked me up, and that was a big deal. So I appreciate it. That was like maybe
Late 90s.
95, and
No, and
then
it wouldn't. We didn't pick because we didn't get started till 98.
oh, okay, then forget that. 98, and I published my book self-published in 1997.
Okay,
So it
all right.
was right the year after.
And we had that book in our store and the website.
Yep.
Yeah. So you had a comic strip. You were a comic strip writer or artist
Yep.
first, and then you parlayed that into the books.
Right. So from this, because I didn't like to read as a kid, so I wasn't hooked on any series. I wasn't one of those kids that I just didn't enjoy it. But I liked drawing, and because I like to draw, I needed to come up with stories that I could draw. Thank goodness I didn't have a partner, because if I had a partner, I would have probably still been relying on them to help me write my stories. So then I saw a lot of books of comic strips, like they had The Far Side and Calvin and Hobbes and Peanuts. So I wanted to do something like that. So I put together a bunch of my comic strips in book form, and I sent them out to different publishers around the country. And I got so many rejection letters, I could wallpaper my house with that. And I was like, well, I know this is a good idea, because I had never seen too many books. I think one of the reasons why I didn't like to read is I never saw myself in a book, and I never saw a lot of happy stories, and I not that every story has to be happy, but the way that my mind is, I like to laugh and be silly, and I didn't see a lot of that. So I just like, hey, how about a happy Black story with a happy Black family? And the publishing world was like, nope.
Imagine that.
I know, right?
They said that doesn't exist.
Right,
That's
exactly.
a fantasy.
Right. And not that Color Purple and some of the classic books are not important, Beloved, and I mean they're classics. But I wanted to add some diversity within the diversity. You know what I mean?
Totally get that.
Right.
Yeah. We don't all have to write in one genre. And that's,
we all don't have to write in one genre. We all don't have to write a struggle story.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like I do a lot of talks to librarians, like I go to conferences, and I try to explain like how the trauma is real, like in my New Kids series, I had a Black woman, and she's like an English professor somewhere. She's like in her 50s. And she said she read the first couple chapters and really liked it. And then she skipped to the last chapter to make sure all the kids were still alive.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, that's some trauma that we don't even admit that we have, but we're used to people like us not making it to the end of the book, to the end of the movie, And so when I talk to these librarians, I say, if the only book that you had as a young white girl were books like Handmaid's Tale, it's not that it's not a good book and entertaining, but that's going to mess with you a little bit and not think that you are on par with men in the same way that some of the books that I had to read, I never felt like I was on par with mainstream society. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to change that. I wanted to do books where a kid could read it and feel safe and not worry about going to bed crying because the kid that they identified with, got arrested or shot or something like that, And Gwen, you remember going to the movies and seeing Boys in the Hood, and I know you was probably drooling over Ricky, Morris Chestnut.
I'm
I know,
really
I know,
not that
I can tell
big
you
of a
both
Morris
were.
Chestnut fan. He's okay, but to me, he has a arrogant aura that I don't like.
Well, in the movie when you saw that, you knew
No,
all that.
in all of his stuff.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Everything
So
he's in.
Gwen is one of
I
Right.
know, but
people,
but he had me. He gave me. He identified me as an acolyte. And I'm just saying, I'm not.
Okay, so you getting personal. So you erased his name from your BlackBerry and took the card out your Rolodex. So
right.
you mad now?
No, I
Right.
just
Wait,
different
Gwen, you
people
mad? Why
affect
you
me.
mad?
Why am I mad?
Why
What
you
do you mean?
mad?
I'm
Let,
not.
let me let me
What are
interview
you talking
you
about?
about. Hey, we're not even talking about my books now. You talking about you and Morris Chestnut. I was trying to make a
Yeah,
point,
I
huh?
know, but you gave him to me as
And you
my
gave him
an
right
object,
back.
and I gave him back to
You
you.
gave him right back.
But Boys in the Hood was an example
Right.
of everybody. You did have the main character go off to college in the end, but everybody else
No, no,
died.
no, no, no.
No, he did.
He did not make it to
Not
college.
Morris Chestnut,
Oh,
Morris
Cuba
Chestnut.
oh,
Gooding Jr.
oh, Cuba Gooding. Okay,
Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say Morris Chestnut died.
Yeah,
that's
I know
right. He
that.
he
I've
made it
seen the
into
movie
heaven.
at least 10 times.
Hmm. Okay.
So yeah, he went to college, and so did Nia Long's character. She went to
Right.
college. But
But
everybody else died.
right. And see, that's what I'm getting. That's my point. Is that we finish these and think of them as a feel good story because Cuba Gooding Jr. made it to college. I'm like, yeah, but everyone else is dead. You know what
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean? And it's just like, how many have we seen where someone got arrested and it's always for a crime they didn't commit and they in jail for 40
Right.
years, right?
Or they get killed in jail, or they get
Right. See, now
or
you even that's even worse, right?
yeah.
But
They
then they
didn't do
get
it, and then they go to jail, then they get killed.
right, or they're in jail for 50 years and then some, you know, uh lawyer comes and gets them out and now they're like 82 years old, don't know what the internet is,
The whole
can't
life is
work.
gone.
Right. So
Yeah,
that's
their
that's
life is
not
over.
that's not a happy ending to me,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
You're right.
And so I just think that there's a trauma that we're used to that we don't even know that we're used to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so when I'm trying to do kids books, specifically I try to do like middle grade. I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
show, Mama's Boys was a mom and her sons, and they ran a bookstore, and so I got so many rejection letters. I self-published. I got a book on how to self-publish, and back in 1997, I published that. And then, it's funny because I told you I wasn't a reader, so I wasn't one of these people that was on the train with a big book. And I had my Mama's Boys website, and and I had a section on there on slang, and I wanted to show how different generations had different slang. So back in the day, maybe Yusuf called it, I think, like maybe a whip or hoopty, right? And there's like grandpa called
Hmm.
it the whip, and then the uncle called it this, all the different ages. And this guy used to always send in stuff. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay. And then we started talking. I was like, oh, he's a cool guy. And he says, hey, man, how would you like to swap books with me? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So I got my little Mama's Boys book and put it in the mail and sent it to him. And a couple weeks later, I get these three big, like 400-page hardcover books. And I'm like, I'm not reading all that, you know? And but I felt obligated because I knew he was going to read mine. So I sat down and I read his, and little did I know that that was Eric Jerome Dickey. And
Wow.
so,
Wow.
yep. So sister, sister, he actually gave me a
Friends and
nod.
Lovers, was that one of them?
Yep, friends and lovers, sister, sister. And then he gave me a nod in Milk and My Coffee. And
Okay,
then
that was the one I
in
was trying to think of.
in when I did the second book, Homeschooling, I had him do a book signing at Mom's bookstore.
Oh,
So
okay. That's him when
yeah,
he had his locks.
yep, when he had his locks.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so then that's when I was like, okay, let me try to do stories that are relatable but still happy stuff. And then I did the third one. So it's Mama's Boys Homeschooling that you had on your website, and you had the as American Sweet Potato Pie, and then the big picture was the third one.
Okay.
And then people started coming to me and saying, "Hey, Mr. Kraft, I'm trying to get published too, and all I'm getting are rejection letters. Can you help me publish my book?" And I was like, I don't know. It was kind of scary because I didn't think of myself as a publisher. But then I was like, well, I mean, I already know how to do the barcode and the ISBN number and all that stuff. So I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can help you do that. So in 2007, I started my own publishing company. And then over like the next 25 years, I help people publish their books. So they'd send me the manuscript. Like this one's called Please Don't Yell at We by Sabrina Carter. So I ended up doing three books for her. I did all the illustrations and the layout.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yep. Please won't you listen to We? I got the ISBN number and the barcode and all that stuff. And then that just kind of took off. So I did mainly picture books. This one's Harper Counts of Blessings. And some of these
Okay.
authors still sell these
Right.
books, which is pretty cool. S is for
That's the first
Southside,
outside.
Courtney
Okay.
Davis. And then this
Okay.
is the first one, the first chapter book that like I didn't know if I could do that. So I
Okay.
had, do the whole layout, and then there's pictures and stuff.
Very nice.
That's my friend David Miller.
Okay.
Um, and then even did one for George and Emma Frazier, George C. Frazier, who does the
Hmm.
networking.
Hmm.
So this is about them growing up in the foster care system. And this is
Oh.
called Who Would Have Thunk It?
Now
And
what award is on there?
this was a Amazon #1 bestseller for children's books when that came out.
Okay.
And yeah, and then so we toured and did some stuff with that. And then this is a good one. Just because, about a family that wants to get together just because, no
Okay.
reason.
Okay.
And then the last one well, two more. Baby Boy, What Will You Be? This is one of my favorite ones about a woman with a son, a newborn baby, and she's figuring out, what will you be? A scientist, a politician, the president, archaeologist. And these are all stories that were near and dear to the author's heart. So
Okay.
they really believed in it. Like they didn't necessarily want to be writers, they wanted to write this story.
Okay.
This one, What's Below Your Tummy Tum, Michelle Brito, who is LMSW. So this was teaching kids about, keeping their privates private.
Yeah.
Um, so there were important books. And then I started doing that with them. And it was like, okay, this is kind of cool. This is the first one, Hillary's Big Business Adventure.
Okay.
Um, and then and it was a hustle, going to the Harlem Book Festival and going to schools and
Hustle
trying
in
to,
itself.
huh?
So that's a hustle all in itself.
Yeah,
Oh my
we
goodness.
went last year. Rhonda and I went last year.
Did you? Yeah,
Hmm.
it's hustling. And then that was where I met Kwame Alexander at Human Bookstore in Harlem. And
Okay.
then he had something called the um, Capital Book Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And he did one in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I drove out to that and drove out to DC. He had it. But it was rough, because and then I always had to be working on a new book. So while I'm working on your book, I'm negotiating with Gwen so that as soon as I'm done with yours and I upload it, then I start with hers. So it was a constant source of income,
Yes.
hopefully.
Never
Hmm.
any rest.
No.
Hmm.
Uh-uh.
No, not when you're doing things yourself, not when
Right.
you're self-publishing. Now, I remember contacting you about doing some illustrations when I did my kids' biz book series when I was thinking about doing it. And I have 5 books in the series. I'm going to have more, but at the time you were not available because you said you were doing illustrations exclusively for a publisher.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought you was ready to throw me under the bus again.
No, I'm not.
But okay.
Again, what?
So yes, now back then, absolutely. Before so it wasn't until 2014 I got an email asking if I wanted to illustrate a book for them. Now I had given up on the thought of ever being traditionally published,
Hmm.
because I just didn't think that they wanted the stories that I wanted to tell. And it ended up being for Scholastic. And I illustrated this book called The Zero Degree Zombie Zone.
Okay.
And that was the first book for a major publisher. And then they started sending me around the country, um, doing these book signings. And I did um, the National Book Festival in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I had never seen anything like it. I didn't know. I'd never seen that many people that excited about books.
Okay.
I'd never seen an author with 150 people online waiting to get an autograph and a book and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is,
Yeah,
I
huh?
want to do this. Yeah, it was amazing. And then as I started doing more book festivals, then I started meeting Jackie Woodson and Walter Dean Myers. And then
Hmm.
I remember doing a panel at some festival in Brooklyn. And then like 5 years later, it came up on my timeline like, hey, remember you did this? And I looked, I was like, oh, shoot, that tall guy was Jason Reynolds. That's kind of cool. I didn't know it at the time, you
Hmm.
know. So to see he and Kwame and Jacqueline Woodson and all these people that I met, just all of a sudden you just see them, on a different level,
Hmm.
and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. So yeah, that kind of started it all.
So the new kids book, it's more than one book, isn't it?
Hmm.
Uh,
So New Kid came out in I signed a contract in 2017 for HarperCollins,
Okay.
and it's a graphic novel that's loosely based on me growing up in Washington Heights, in New York City. And this is actually the house where I grew up. That's where he lives. So it's a
okay.
brownstone because,
Okay.
again, I just didn't want to do the same kind of thing where everyone is struggling to survive in the South Side of somewhere. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
the mean streets, the rough streets, the
Right,
struggle, like
right.
Rhonda said.
Right.
Well, because it's just not everybody's story,
No,
and
it's
Right.
not.
it leaves out
No.
an entire part of our race.
Right.
Everybody's not the same.
Right. And I know we always like, well, I know someone like that. Well, you know
Well,
someone
yeah,
that's not like that too. That
yeah.
we don't always
Right.
have to
Hopefully,
tell those stories. And then I have them go into the book fair in here, and the teacher, white teacher, gives them this book called The Mean Streets of South Uptown. Like, oh, you're gonna identify with these characters. He's like, I don't identify with these. But you know, the cover blurbs and the reviews of our books are always like, you know, it's always gritty, like the gritty urban portrayal of the grit of today's urban grittiness. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of grit, you know? So I started drawing it in 2016. 2017, I signed my contract, and then I handed it in 2018. So it took about 13 months of drawing like every day. And then it came out in 2019, February 2019. And then it just took off. Like it was just amazing. In October, I went down, October 2019, went down to Austin, Texas, and was told I had won this, which is the Kirkus Prize for Young Readers Literature,
oh
which
wow,
was, yeah, which is
beautiful.
a really amazing thing. And
Oh,
then
is that an open book? That
it
was
is,
Yes,
yep,
yes.
pages of
open
a
book in the
book.
Globe.
Hmm.
Um, and then in January, I got the call that I had won this, which is the Newbery Medal. So it's the only graphic novel to ever win.
Oh, and
Yep.
there's a
So
new kid cover behind you,
yep,
behind it.
there you go.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the actual medal. So it was the first graphic novel, only graphic novel to win in over 100 years. Um, and I was the fifth African American author to ever win. So Virginia
Mm.
Hamilton, Kwame Alexander, Christopher Paul Curtis, and Mildred Taylor won for Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry.
Hmm.
Christopher Paul Curtis for Bud Not Buddy, Kwame for The Crossover, and Virginia Hamilton for MC Higgins the Great. Um, and then also won the Coretta Scott King Author Award, which is this. So it's only the second book ever to win those, and the only book ever to win those two in the Kirkus. So it's like from this kid who hated to read and couldn't get published and self-published for 20 years and relied on people like you to help me sell my books on their website. That's why I tell people you never know.
No, you have to keep at it
Yeah,
because you don't know what's going to take off.
yeah.
Now you have a new book with Kwame Alexander. Now is it out yet or is it coming out?
Yep,
Okay,
it
it's
came
out.
out earlier this year. So
Okay.
so Kwame, like I said, won the Newbery in 2015 for a book called The Crossover, and they
Hmm.
turned it into a series on Disney Plus, and you know he's done really well. And I approached him a couple years ago, and I was like, "Hey, man, I have an idea. How about we do a book that's loosely based on us as kids? You know, I'm a fifth grade artist and who hates to read, and you're a fifth grade writer, and they have a storytelling contest in their school, and they become bitter rivals to see who wins." And you know, I laid it out for him. I said, and we could do it like a Wimpy Kid style book. And he was like, "Nah, I'm good." I'm like, what do you mean no? I was like, okay. So then I waited about a year and bumped into him again at some book fest and pitched it again. And he's like, no, nope, not interested. And he might have turned me down like one or two more times. And then I was like, I know this is a good idea. How do I get him? And I said, let me go at him. Let me hit that ego a little bit, because you got to have an ego to be in this business.
Yes,
You know,
you do.
and
I
especially
mean, there are different degrees of ego, but
right,
yes.
right, right. And so I said, I wrote the first chapter, and I texted him. I was like, "Hey, man, you got a minute?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so I called him up, and I read the first chapter to him, and I said, "Now you write the second chapter." And I hung up the phone, and I knew that was all it would take. He's like, "Oh, you not outdoing me." And then I had a Google Doc, so he wrote the second chapter, and I wrote the third. He wrote the fourth, and now when he tells the story, he says, "And then I realized after it was done, after a couple months and working hard, that Jerry Craft had tricked me into writing this book." And so it came out. It's called J versus K, and then
Okay.
by Kwame Alexander, and it's you see I crossed off his name,
Yes. Hmm.
and put my name. And so it's about these two kids who are rivals, but Kwame and I, as authors, go at it also, because we wanted to show kids that you can be rivals, but still like each other and respect each other. Because you know how we always do. If you like Jordan, you got to hate LeBron. If you like, Kendrick, you got to hate Drake. If you like this one, you got to. I was like, well, you know what? I like Jordan and LeBron and Kobe, and I had the pleasure of watching all of them, so we just wanted to show kids that um, sometimes teaming up is the way to go, or you have a rival that kind of just pushes you to make you better in the same way that we push each other in real life,
Hmm. Now,
because
we're at the end of our time, but I have a quick question I need to ask you.
Gwen, I got 4 more hours of
I know
material.
you, in theory you do, but in actuality, we have one more guest. But I saw a post by Kwame. I just
Hmm.
want to ask if it was real or not. And it had you on stage with an empty auditorium.
Oh, you didn't see the stuff I put
No,
up?
I didn't, and it came across my news feed. I'm like, oh my goodness,
No, no,
did
no.
this really happen?
No, I was setting up. I got there about half hour early, and I was setting up and doing a mic check. And
Okay. Because he
and
wrote, and you had one assignment, you had one job or something like that. And I
hmm
was like, well, oh, what, they have their beef in public. So I'm glad that it was just tongue in cheek.
Oh yeah, no, we go out each other all the time. Yeah, no, we're buddies, so it's all
You
good.
two sound like you have a really fun friendship, though.
It
Yeah,
does.
and like I said, it's good to have that because we push each other. So like he
Hmm.
won an Emmy
Yeah.
for the
Last year, I think
crossover
it was.
last year,
Hmm.
and that makes it an attainable goal in my mind, because I would have never thought about that,
Hmm.
and I'm like,
Right.
oh wow, okay. And then when he saw me, like I've got a new kid like jigsaw puzzle and sketch pad and stuff like that, and he's like, oh shoot, okay, ancillary products, okay, I can. So we kind of keep each other motivated.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it's all good. And the last thing, this is the new kid that I showed you. This is actually in Korean. So it's in like
Oh,
15 different languages now. It's in
wow.
Lithuanian and Albanian and Russian and all that. You could read it everywhere except for some parts of Texas and Florida where it's banned. But that's a whole nother story.
Okay. Well, I tell people books are not banned from the earth. You can
That's
still
right.
go buy them, and preferably at your Black independent bookstore.
Absolutely.
So, Jerry, thank you so much. I never knew that you had such a good sense of humor. And I've learned that since meeting you last month at the Texas Book Festival. But thank you for sharing your story of being an overnight success after 30 years.
After 30 years, absolutely. You guys,
Take
thank you for
care.
having me.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
being here. Have a great night.
You got
Very
it.
informative. Things I didn't know. I didn't even know you were doing a lot of that stuff. So,
Cool.
but I remember Mama's Boys really well.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I appreciate you for riding the bus with me way back when.
Way back when.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Good
Have a great
night.
Take care.
holiday.
Have a great
You
night.
too. Bye-bye.
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 So our final guest is in a different genre again. And this one is one that there's not a lot of African Americans in this genre, but she has taken it upon herself. It's something she really likes writing. And she started out writing romance about 10 years ago. I'm going to just guesstimate. I believe it was about 10 years ago. It might have been more than that. And then she decided to go in the horror genre, and she has been writing in that genre ever since. And then she recently got an agent, and I think she got a book deal, but I'll let her tell that story. And the other, now both of these Rhondas are my friends, and so I have to say, one Rhonda versus the other Rhonda. But they're friends with each other because we're a part of a group that we support each other. So Rhonda Jackson Garcia, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hey y'all, I'm so happy to be back. How are y'all today?
Wonderful. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm good. Y'all know I was totally sat for the two BJs, right? And then I go, oh wait, you're supposed to be getting ready for your own stuff. So
yeah, they're legends for real.
they are. They totally are.
Yeah. So, did you recently get a book deal?
I did, yes. So I've been working with an agent now. Yay, thank you.
That's wonderful.
Yes, thank you. So yes, we just sold my second horror short story collection. We sold it to Quill and Crow Press, which is this oh my gosh, this wonderful independent publisher that does like the most beautifully gorgeous gothic-y kind of books, right? And so I'm super excited to see what we can kind of turn this into, and it'll be released next summer.
Oh, okay. Now what's the title of it?
The title of it is My Monsters Ain't Like Yours. So you know how we have to do, right? And I decided to do this ironic kind of title, right? I was like, the irony of it, because really horror at its core is about human horrors, human terrors, things that humans are afraid of. And so really at the end of it, what I'm hoping people realize is that, yeah, my monsters are very similar to yours, just like yours are very similar to mine. And so there's no reason for us to be trying to one up one another. Like we all are terrified of stuff, right?
Now, what horror is not something that a lot of Black women are attracted to in terms of books.
A lot of Black people, because we're a scary bunch.
We are kind of scary.
We're scared of everything.
I think my parents used to talk about what they call haints. And those are, have you heard that term, Rhonda? It's another word for ghosts.
If you read the Reformatory, there's haints all over the book.
Yeah, okay, I read the Reformatory. So and there's some superstitions that we still carry. My husband said he grew up believing black cats were bad luck. And and he grew up in a rural area where cats just would like roam. And he was on his way to school one day and a black cat crossed his path. And he said you had to figure out how to get the cat to cross the path again from the opposite direction. I never heard of anything like that. But he spent an hour like in the weeds trying to get the cat.
Trying to undo it.
Some superstitions that, there's things that have been passed down. Just saying, bad things happen in threes and, things like that. So what attracted you to the whole horror? What made you a horror lover?
Well, mostly all of that you were just saying. I mean, we think that we're not into horror, right? But then we realize that when we actually look into it, there's a lot of stuff in our experiences and our superstitions and our legends, especially here in the South. Right. So I'm a native Southerner. I don't know that you both are, but I'm a native Southerner, right? Yeah.
I'm from
So
New
we
Orleans.
I'm from Virginia, North Carolina, and Virginia.
Okay.
They sometimes think they're not the South, although
Right.
Virginia was the seat of the Confederacy. So I don't know how you cannot. But North Carolina is where my roots are. So I'm
Yes.
from the South too, and
Oh
so
yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There are traditions and superstitions. Like now, did your people do this? Whenever there was a thunderstorm, and this was me when I was growing up, like from when I left home, my mother, they would always just sit like quietly in a chair.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
Because
and
God was talking.
God was doing his work. And they wouldn't do anything. Wow.
Yep. No clowning around, no making
Yeah.
noise.
Turn off the TVs.
Turn off the TV.
Everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean,
Okay.
so our traditions are already so steeped in the stuff that horror stories are about. And so I was a kid, always watching like the horror movies on TV, and it was just fascinating to me. Like I was watching a lot of the ones from the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. You know, so these are black and white. You have Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits, Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Like I was into all of that. And I think that the one thing that always struck me was like how do we get to say that these are monsters, right? So like I remember watching The Creature from the Black Lagoon and thinking that was terribly mean of those people to like go into his part of the water and then like be mad because he didn't want him there, or be upset that he wanted to take the girl. But I'm like, but the girl came into his house. Like, was he not supposed to think about that? Was he not supposed to? I mean, what was he supposed to do? And so I think that and unfortunately I learned real young that the real monsters are they're not the zombies or the vampires. They can be very much the humans, right? And so that really drew me to the darkness. With just that I always felt so comforted by that, right? Like you can't have the light without the dark. And so I always wanted to know what's in the dark. I'm very I decided I would stop calling it nosy. I would start calling it inquisitive. So I've always been really inquisitive. So I'm always that person that wants to see, what's behind the door, what's in the dark room, what's in the corner, what's in the shadows. So writing horror is a really good way to like write about those things that are in the shadows.
Those movies that you mentioned or shows that you mentioned, the Twilight Zone and Outer Limits, they did so much with no tech.
Yes, right.
It was really mind games. It was mind control. They had one, the Twilight Zone. I haven't seen them all because they're on Tubi now. But I'm not sure about the Outer Limits. But anyway, the one that has stuck with me the longest of the Twilight Zone episodes is one where a boy uses his mind to send people to the cornfield.
Yes.
And he controls this town by threatening to send them to the cornfield where they can't get out, and they become like a jack in the box.
Right.
And so the whole town is like bowing to this 10-year-old. Saying everything he does is really good. That's really good, Jimmy, or whatever his name was.
Yes.
Because otherwise, they would end up in that cornfield. That I don't remember which season, which episode, but Google it. That is the way they wrote that. It was just really creative and made you think. They can make you scary with no tech. So now they use
exactly.
but they would scare you without the tech,
without any of the tech. Well, because it's the idea. Like, can you
Right.
just imagine? I mean, we've met 10-year-olds, we've met little kids, like to really like live in a world where they get to tell you what to do. That is horrifying. That is
Yeah.
horrifying. That is one of my favorite episodes too. Yes, I love that.
Okay,
I
you've seen
love
that
it.
one. Mhm. So and then they had one. I mean, it's just reminding me of how they did this with no tech. They had one where the woman, she wanted to have plastic surgery because she thought she was ugly compared to everybody else. Then they
Yes.
showed you everybody else, and they all like had these pig faces. They looked horrible, but she thought she was ugly because she didn't look like these pig people.
Right. Well, right. And that was so
She
low.
convinced herself of that.
You see that all the time when somebody doesn't look like everybody else.
Yes.
They think that they're ugly.
That's
Yes, it is a classic fear. I mean, but yes, Twilight Zone was like, they were so wonderful at that.
It
with
was
like,
ahead of its time. I mean, it was really
it really was.
groundbreaking.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was. So yeah.
Now tell us about your most recent book that you have with the women's stories.
Okay,
Do
so
you have some of your books there with you that you can
Well,
show
I
us?
do. So I actually brought this. So the only thing is I'm so tech challenged, y'all know. And I was trying to practice like before I came on. I was like, how do you show this on the screen with this virtual background? I don't know that I figured out how to do it, but you know, I was like
Twilight Zone.
Exactly right. I was like, this
you
is
have to put it close to you.
Oh, close to me.
Close to you.
Okay, there we go. Maybe y'all can see her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to put it right in front of you. There you go.
Yeah, okay, yes. So
Okay.
this is.
But now
you
you
done
disappeared. You disappeared.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
okay. So this, we're going to talk about her because we can go to the website, right? I wanted to show her though because she's so beautiful. This is a limited edition illustrated chapbook, right? And so it is one of my stories is published through Rapture Publishing, and this publisher is doing this wonderful stuff. Like I have all of the other chapbooks in that he's put out because he hires this artist who is just phenomenal. So Chris Panettiere is the artist who creates this original artwork for each one of the chapbooks. Now, to me, this is like a huge career high, right? Because this is a limited edition collector's item. And when I say the girl, when they showed me the artwork, the publisher, like I'm on the text message going, oh my gosh, she is gorgeous. She looks like a Black girl, right? And I know Chris, I know some of his other work, and Chris is just super talented. But I'm real glad that Mitch, the publisher over at Rapture Publishing, signed on with him to bring life to this girl because the illustrations that are in here are so creepy, so the story is creepy. I think I kind of did that with the little historical vampire thing, but it's the artwork that really makes it pop. So it's a historical vampire story set in Galveston during the great hurricane of 1900.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So when I was listening to Beverly Jenkins earlier on the show, I was thinking about the time I met her and I'd first gotten into my MFA program. And so I went in as a romance writer, right? And so I go to have her sign my book at, I think it was Romance Slam Jam that they used to have years ago. And she was so nice. I go running up to her. I say, oh, Miss Jenkins, it's so nice to meet you. And I'm going to write historical romance and just like you. And this is going to be wonderful. That's really what I thought was going to happen. But what really happened was, I am writing this historical horror. So I'm still writing the historical stuff, but more in the horror vein. But she was so nice. She was so nice and she was so congratulatory. She was so like, oh, yes, well, that's great. Good luck. I'm sure that will work out well. And I'm like, yeah, no, one day I'll have to go back and tell her, I know you don't remember me, but it didn't work out, but it worked out a different way.
Well, it's still historical.
And you're still writing.
Yeah.
It's still historical. I'm still writing. And I'm working on a novel right now that I think that it would be what my idea of romance is like from the horror writing perspective. And so it does have a really strong romance through line. which hopefully I'll have the edits to my agent by the end of this month, and so then we can kind of start working on that. But it's very obvious. A lot of people that read my work, it's very obvious that I have these romance gothic kind of roots. So, I'm glad that shows.
Okay. And you go to a lot of horror conferences and conventions and book festivals all over the place. And you've been overseas with it.
Yes, I have. You know what I find?
Wasn't it England that you went to?
Yes, I've been to Berlin, and I've also been to London and Transylvania, to Sigishwara, Transylvania. So
well, Transylvania seems right up your alley.
Well, of course, right? And it was.
I'd be scared to go there.
Oh no, it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
I would be thinking it was gonna be a vampire jumping out, even in the daytime.
Well, of course, anything crazy that happens, you kind of think that. But like, I think my brain works like that everywhere. Like, even if I leave out of my room, sometimes I walk around in my house and I'm thinking, oh, well, that's kind of different. That's a little weird. What is that? And then here we go. We got a whole vampire out of the deal, right?
Or you hear different sounds, and you want
to. We do not like hearing a sound. That's why it's a scary lot. We hear a sound, we have to move.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I used to watch my sister and I used to watch. We used to love horror movies growing up. We would be scared, but we would watch them.
Yeah.
And the Dracula ones that had Christopher Lee as Dracula. Because there were some early, like almost like talkies, that I didn't. The ones where they're silent movies. Or like the early, I forgot who the early. Oh, Bela Lugosi. That was before. I didn't see any. But Christopher Lee was a very convincing Dracula. He was very scary.
Yes.
I mean, just and the music that they would put with it made it even more scary. Yep. And who was the guy who was always trying to kill him?
Peter Cushing, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. He was always, hunting him, trying to kill him. But he was a very good, their makeup and just the way that he would act. And my sister and I would be watching it, and we would have the covers up against, like, so when the scary part came, we would pull the covers over our eyes. And then I'd be scared to go to the bathroom. It was just.
Right. And then rinse and repeat. Do it again.
Oh, it was, but those, and again, not much, no special effects. It was really the music with the filming and just the makeup and just the acting was really good.
I think it was the artistry. There was a real dedication to the craft that I think that being able to do things like CGI kind of diminished a little bit, because when you don't have all of that, you have to use your body as a tool. So you have to use every talent that you have. You have to, act the part. You have to live the part. You have to, make sure that the music is hits the right notes and creates the right atmosphere. You have to make sure that your sets, are not just durable, but like people will still remember that stuff. So I think that the one thing that I do like to play around with when I'm writing the horror is kind of pulling on those old school things, right? Like, it's great, to talk about, more. We can talk about technology as a part of horror, like, because it's a whole thing, like, that's very terrifying. AI is very terrifying to me, like, just even the thought of what could happen after all of this, right? But like, I like to kind of go back a little bit and go back to those basics and go back to that whole, creating the suspense, kind of like the whole Edgar Allan Poe, or even like or the characterization work like Toni Morrison does. Like, those people need to jump off the page, and you need to be terrified for them. You need to not just be afraid of the monsters, but you need to be scared for those characters. Yeah, you have to feel what they
Feel what
feel.
they feel,
So.
see what they see.
Exactly. You have to put yourself into those stories. So I am a very unabashed horror girly. I always have been. One of the hardest things was figuring out how to let my children get into it age appropriately when they wanted to. So I mean, I made a couple of parenting missteps. I think I let my son watch The Evil Dead, the remake, when he was like about 8. That was a mistake. I mean, we talked
Kids have
about it ahead of
nightmares.
time. Oh my gosh, we talked about it ahead of time. We talked about, let me know when you want me to turn it off. I'm going to sit right here with you the whole time, and we can turn it off and we'll watch your favorite cartoons. We did all of that, and this kid woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, okay, that was a parenting fail. He was not ready. I didn't realize he wasn't ready. Thankfully, there was no lasting damage. And so now they are all young adults. And so the ones that like it can kind of engage with, when they want to and how they want to. But I am a lot more careful with the grandbabies. We don't do that. I think the only thing I've watched with the 8-year-old is the Godzilla and Kong movies. I
Oh,
haven't
I haven't seen those myself. Not because of it's scary. It's because I know it's going to be all special effects.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't interest me. Now I
Sure,
want to ask
sure.
you
And that I
about
thought
some
was
of the
totally
modern
okay.
horror. Like in modern horror, like
Uh-huh.
they have like Scream like 15 times. I don't know how many numbers. Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have those.
Yeah.
I don't
And
like
then
the Scream movies.
I
I like
don't
the
either.
I like the first one
Yeah.
or two, but then they just got stupid.
Yeah, it's
It
to me they rely too much on gore,
Yeah.
you know, and
I
not the
agree.
story. You don't have to,
I
like,
agree.
somebody's head has to split open and their eyes have to bulge out and their head has to be
Yeah.
chopped off. Blood has to
And
spurt
that's
out from every.
fun.
Yeah.
That's fun when it makes the story stronger though, right? Like
Yes, the story needs to be
I
strong.
mean, I'll watch it, of course. If they come out with another Scream, I'm gonna go watch it, right? Just
Oh
because that's
yeah.
what we do. I
I
just
guess
want,
it's up your alley. You know, you
yeah.
like that gore stuff.
I
Yeah,
tell you,
but
a really scary movie. They remade it, but I didn't look at the remake because I can't imagine them making it any scarier than the original. And that was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one. That was
oh
a scary
yeah.
movie. I saw that at a drive-in that
Yeah.
was next to the wooded area. And it was in, the wood, it was in the
Yeah.
woods. So, trying to go
Uh-huh.
to the concession or to the bathroom during intermission, you
Right.
thinking somebody's gonna come out of the woods with some chains. Some of this stuff is just truly scary and horrible.
That was
So, but
scary.
I think, no one who knows you, like meeting you, they would never think Rhonda likes horror or writes horror.
No,
You have such a
But
bubbly.
Rhonda doesn't like horror. Oh, I thought you meant me.
no. The other Rhonda.
So I
No, it's my
I applaud you
superpower. It's
for
my Clark Kent.
yeah, I applaud you for doing something outside of the box, and you got a book deal. I mean, this is it's wonderful. I remember when
I
you
think
told
it
me.
is amazing, and I'm gonna read one of your books. I mean, if I can read Eric LaSalle's those scary books, I can read your books. So,
I think
so
so. You see, that's the good thing about that's my superpower. I don't think that most people would know. Like now that I'm going to, doing a lot of the events, people are like, oh yeah, that's her. That's that old creepy auntie. That's the old creepy horror auntie, but like just on the street, no. Most people don't know until I start talking about something kind of a little off kilter, and then they kind of go, oh, but oh, that's okay, that's different. But okay. I mean, and my thing is somebody's got to do it, right? And I'm really good at it. But
Okay.
also, I think that it's a good vehicle. Like horror is just a good vehicle to talk about a lot of this stuff that is terrifying. So like for instance, with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the latest version I saw was that Netflix one from like a couple of years ago or so, maybe 22, 23. One thing that they did different in that one that I really thought was horrifying, but in a different way, was that one of the characters was a school shooting survivor. So that character was not just a young person, but they had already survived like this kind of a massacre situation, right? And so the way that they faced that in the movie, I was like, that's a different kind of scary. Because if you face this horror, when you have somebody else coming to kill you, this is literally not the first time this happened to you. And so I did think that making that character have that experience really did bring something. It really added something to that story, because I'm with you, Gwen. It was too, first of all, we live here in Texas.
Right.
That one was a little too close for comfort.
I wasn't living in Texas when I saw it.
Oh, no, I was right here. I believe
it was really scary for Texas people. Now, I was in Virginia when I saw it. So, so anyway, we're at the end of our show, our time, Rhonda. Tell people how they can get your books and how they can stay connected with you.
So I am always haunting social media from most of the platforms behind at R. Jackson Joseph. I do have a website, RhondaJacksonJoseph.com. And I am at quite a few events. So this weekend, I'll be at the B52 Brewery in Conroe for the Evil Embers event. So it's kind of like the spooky holidays thing.
That
Evil Embers. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I will be seeing you soon. I hope at the brunch.
Yes, I will definitely be there.
Christmas brunch. And happy holidays until then. But I'll see you in a couple of weeks for that.
Thanks, ladies. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for having me.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks for being here always.
Take care.
Good night. Okay, so everybody, that's the end of our show. And we will be back next Tuesday with another amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. Just a note that we will not have a show the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's. So we'll take a 2-week hiatus. Our last show for December will be on the 16th of December. So anyway, I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.